To all you Anishinaabe, I want you to think about why you shouldn't vote for Mick Finn. He has criminalized us. He has criminalized our families. He has criminalized our communities. One of the things he's most proud about is bringing in all the law enforcement that has turned Cass Lake, Leech Lake, into Beirut, right here in your own homeland, your backyard. He has made it that we are the most heavily policed people in the northern hemisphere of Turtle Island. Really think about why you should not vote for a guy that dislikes Indians so much and wants to see more and more of us thrown in prison. Think about it. Yeah, another reason not to vote for Mick, you know, he talks about having his own business. Well, one of the reasons he wants to get back into the tribal council is when he was in there last time, he made over 30 trips to Las Vegas in his short 4-year term. He must have really left something in Vegas that he wants to get back to. Leech Lake's money.
Yeah, another reason not to vote for Mick, he's so crooked. He tried to steal the election. What makes you think if you vote for him, he won't steal from you?
Man, I remember when Mick and George were taking all that money to give to famous Dave, that $500,000 they blew on that Key Lime Cove water slide project outside of Chicago, man. Did we ever get anything back on that, or did they drink all that up too?
Oh, that's a reminder that bounced that guy out the election. Remember, Mick Finn means don't vote for me.
You know, you ever wonder what Bill Lawrence would have said about this? I was looking at an old edition of the Ojibwe News there from December of 2007. And there was this memorandum in there that was right to Mick, and it was telling everybody to stop spending money on his trucking. It says that it appears at the time there's no authority for the contract for services from Finn Trucking for the delivery of a surplus rock sorter from Grand Canyon National Park in Arizona, or for the delivery of a non-functioning backhoe from Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Boy, I wonder what he did on those trips and how long those took. Maybe he went to Vegas when he went out to the Grand Canyon, but I don't know where he went when he went to South Carolina. And I wonder if Leech Lake ever even got those things. What would we do with a rock sorter or a broken backhoe?
The Leech Lake Tribal Court has ruled the results of the June 28th Secretary-Treasurer election invalid and says a new special election must be held in a fair and lawful manner. Mick Finn won the first election on June 28th by 6 votes over Donald Hedberg Sr. Today's ruling by the tribal court found what it called substantial voting irregularities, including people being denied their rights to vote and people being paid to vote.
Mick and George never even shared any of the tax rebates from the state. They just blew all the money themselves.
Man, I'll tell you, I can give you 5 million reasons why not to vote for Mick. Remember when he rushed that deal with George with Enbridge to sell us out for like $4.7 million? And they screwed up the deal because they didn't know what they were doing. Then Archie and Ribs got in, and a little while later we had it negotiated to 10. Boy, those guys are losers, man. That Mick doesn't know his butt from the hole in the ground. He shouldn't be in charge of anything.
Did you see that Debajiman? They used to say the Debajiman was telling the news. Now it's not even telling the news. That Chris Haugen, I don't even think he knows what the news is, or he's afraid of what the news is. That last copy said another special election for Leech Lake Secretary-Treasurer's seat to be held in September. And it starts talking about last June, and the Leech Lake Band held a special election to fill the vacant seat of his cousin for Secretary-Treasurer, and at about 10:30 that night, the results were in and Mick Finn won. Why doesn't he talk about any of the other stuff like Mick Finn was buying votes, Mick Finn, his election was invalidated? Mick Finn, man, that's a corrupt operation there. Why doesn't that have anything in the Debajiman? How are the people going to find out what's actually happened? And not even the people get to see the paper that was made. Once the chairman found out that Chris Haugen and Steve White, were running this operation, he ordered that real papers be printed so the people could see the decision from the election judge and see the decision from the appellate court that was upholding the election as invalid because Steve and Mick were buying votes. when that new paper came out with all that information, Chris Haugen and Steve White, they went and picked up all the papers and locked them in Steve's office and then changed the locks. Talk about depriving the people of information. That's a First Amendment violation. We got some free speech rights here. We want to hear something.
The appellate division of the Leech Lake Band of Ojibwe has agreed with an earlier court ruling that invalidates last June's Secretary-Treasurer election for the tribe and orders a new special election. The appellate panel heard oral arguments July 25th and issued its ruling today. Mick Finn won the first election on June 28th by 6 votes over Donald Hedberg Sr. But a ruling by the tribal court on July 15th found what it called substantial voting irregularities, including people being denied their rights to vote and people being paid to vote, among other things. Today's ruling means a new election must be held.
If you've enjoyed this segment of Lakeland News, please consider making a tax-deductible contribution to Lakeland Public Television.
Yeah, another reason not to vote for Mick is he wants to get in there and make those personal deals like Steve White and Bongo. They want to bongolize the reservation.
Whatever the ruling is on the judge's decision today after what happens here today, I just want to see, whichever way it goes, whether I win or lose, is that I want to see honest, fair elections here on Leech Lake, so the people can get representation by, the person they voted for, that they win in an honest way. Whatever the ruling is